Hi, I've recorded this video to help you with the SOP for managing your Leads You Love system. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to log in at dash.leadsyouLove.net/login with your login credentials. And once you do log in, you'll probably just see your face and you want to click on that. The next thing that you want to do is select on messages and sync your messages. So once you're inside of your messages, you can see on the SOP, you can see the sync. And what that's going to do is pull and push all of the conversations that you have in here out and then pull back in. But if you manually sync that, then you will have what's most current in your inbox. Now, before you follow up with any messages, and you want to be in your inbox at least once a day, you're going to look at your reports and see if anything's turned off. So sometimes it takes a second for the reports to pop up, but let's see what that looks once it does. And then you want to have selected the things that you care about. And the things that I care about personally are connections and emails. We are currently not using emails, but if you are, you'd want to have that turned on selected too, because then you could see that there's only two graphs. There's no emails. So 000, oh, what's wrong? This little red guy over here is showing you something is disconnected. So anytime you see red anywhere in the system, sometimes you'll see it up over here somewhere. If you do have your email connected, you want to make sure it's not your main domain. Our main domain is elisabbennet.com. So if we were to do some marketing from this system, you can put 100 email accounts in here. So you need a marketing email address that you can send messages out from that's similar to your business name or your business function. For instance, we could have Leads You Love or elisabbennet.co, ideally.com, and as close to the business domain that you're using. The idea is you want to have as little disconnect in what you currently are and what leads will see. From a branding perspective, the closer everything is, you can get up to 23% improved conversions if your fonts, your logos, your colors, all of those things are the same. You just want to have similar email address as well. So you also want your email address to have your name, right? If you're marketing from Elisa, you would not want to send out emails from info at, if that makes sense. Okay. So if in the event that this was incorrect, then what you do is click here and then reconnect whatever it was that got disconnected for whatever reason. And support is the best place to get help whenever there's a technical issue. When you do click here, get in touch will pop open. You can search for documents to tell you how, or you can get in touch, leave a message, or sometimes there's live chat. And they're really great support. And they have strategy, things that I don't teach that convert very well. Definitely take advantage of that. The next thing that we want to do is check the unreplied box. This is the reason why you're checking reports, is to see if you have any zeros. Okay. So for instance, we have a 0 on the weekend, and that is what you want. You never want to mark it on the weekend because excessive use can get your account flagged. So Monday through Friday, you're going to come into your messages, click sync, then come to reports. And we can see that we've been off for a number of days. Now, there is a weekend involved here. Today is Tuesday, the 18th of November. So that was Monday. These 2 days should have been dipped down, but not this day as well, and this day. So we've got 4 days of inactivity. And when you're managing your own system, you're the one that needs to look and see, is your email connected? Is your LinkedIn connected? Do I have anything red that I need to address? Message support and see if they can help you if you're not sure. The numbers that you want to look for are 650 to 800 over a month's period of time. So this account has been connected and doing, let's just take a double check on the 18th, so 30 days activity, because there are up peaks and valleys. We just want to look and see if our numbers are 650 to 800 for the month, and we're right on track for that. We're a little bit dipped down on in-mails. So what that means is probably we need to check our in-mail campaign and see if we need to add another one. And we could see if we need to refresh leads or add another campaign. Now, because of the way that we do set up our campaigns, they naturally do pull leads, but they can run out at a certain point in time. But let's check and see what happened with this account. So this account was 000, and then we can click here and see LinkedIn is green. So it wasn't an issue of LinkedIn getting disconnected. Also, some people may have a discounted version of LinkedIn. If you purchased it through the Leads You Love system, that can get disconnected monthly. So in the event that it does get disconnected, you would click support and let them know that you have the discounted subscription to please reconnect it. And they may not know or keep track of the fact that you have that. So you do need to let them know if you see there is some sort of disconnection that might be the issue. With Mario, that's not the issue. We do have a green here. So now what we're going to do is look at our campaigns and see if we ran out of leads. Nope. Actually, what happened was we're completely turned off. Every single campaign got turned off. And this is something that a human did. This doesn't happen accidentally. In that case, the logic is that we name campaigns that we want to have on with on, the word on. And this is the reason why. If they all got turned off and they just had generic names and not on and off, it would be very difficult to have to click every single one of these and figure out which ones were the ones to keep on. So just make sure that you have the ones on that you want to have on with the date. And then we've got connect and in-mail labeling. But as a client, typically we're setting up your campaigns in the beginning, and then you just replicate what we have set up for you. So for this client, my recommendation, and since he's managing himself, I've sent him an email. I just became aware of this. That would be to turn them all back on. However, since he's managing it, there might be a reason that they are turned off. So I'm just going to go like this to give you an example of how important it is to check every single day, Monday through Friday, check your reports and see how everything's going down there. Another thing that you can do is you can check within your campaigns. Let's look at one of the campaigns. Some leads came through, and there will be different stats on the campaigns, how many leads are at a certain step, and that comes in the reports. If you select a campaign, you can check out that analysis there. If you're doing split testing, it's super valuable. All right. So we've gone into messages. We've checked all of the unreplied. And the logic for checking unreplied is that those are going to be messages that are most recent. And so we want to make sure that every single one of those happens. Now, sometimes we have somebody who's not interested, and that's another reason why unreplied is super important. You should never archive a not interested message, but you do want to archive them as long as you're sure that they haven't said anything else. For instance, this client we sent, and we'll set up all of your responses, which are available once you click on a message. This box and arrow, click on that, not interested in this case, and then label them not interested. You see how that goes? Okay, and then you just press the send button. Now, since that was already sent and then he replied, we can archive that. However, sometimes what happens with a message is that when you're inside of the inbox, your message isn't sent yet. So see how it says 5 days ago? It might say sending, or it could have a red garbage can, and that means that you still need to send that message. It wasn't sent yet. Okay. So we go into unreplieds, and we want to make sure that every single one of those messages was addressed. And the unreplied box should be very short. because the goal is that you're always the last person to say something. So this one's a little bit challenging because what are you going to say with the thumbs up as a response? But really, if you ever talk to GPT or if you ever talk to our support, we're always the last one to say something. And then what that does is it pops it out of here and pops it into the main box. So now you can manage everything here. And then you were sure to follow up with all of the most important messages, which are the ones that have responded recently, because of the fact that you can improve your conversions by 900% if you follow up quickly. So main inbox next, after unreplied, and other inbox. Those are the boxes to go all the way down to the bottom and make sure that you followed up with all of the leads. Now for us, we're using different labeling like November, the first through the fourth week. Depending on what you need, we'll set that up for you as well. And then you can adjust it as time goes on. But if you look at the labels, they're set up to have booked be at the top of the list, and appointment requested is the second hottest before booked. Same with more information. It's the second hottest before appointment requested. The way we set these messages up, more information pushes them to a booked call. And then appointment requested, of course, is following up on somebody asking for an appointment. Most people have a freebie, so we have that option in there. Since you can send an email from this system, if you or your assistant does do that, you might want to label it as such since it may be difficult to see it in here sometimes. If your email is connected, you can send a one-off from here as well, so it may not show up in their inbox. Get back to campaign is when they've responded to you in a weird way that stops the campaign. Anytime somebody says anything, it stops the campaign, but maybe they said thanks for connecting and you still want them to get the pitch. So typically we're putting your first, second, and third campaign message. And what that means is the first message after somebody connects with you. So let's say they accept your connection request. They say thanks for connecting, and you want them to get the first message. So we've got that inside of your system. And then you can also use your AI to reply to leads and follow up. But we've got this click to reply that saves you a ton of time as well. So now the goal with your messages in your all inbox is to follow up with them 3 to 5 times, depending on the situation. An appointment requested, we've typically have 4 responses, and more information, 3 responses. So this one made it to 3 replies. And what that means is they asked for more information, and then we follow up 3 times. The last response typically is saying, would you like us to reach out in a month, or would next quarter be better? We're giving 2 options because typically people will take one of the 2. And then that would be our last and final in that period of time. So now we have follow-up number 3. That means that they've gotten message 1, 2, and 3. And then our last follow-up is scheduled for January. That's when we've decided that we're going to send the last message. Once that last message is sent, then we archive it. We're keeping this inbox clean only with active leads. The really great thing about Other is that allows you to see messages and conversations that are happening outside of your campaigns. So basically, it's a really great way to stay organized. Super great. End of day archiving. This is just when somebody is not interested, you want to get them out of your inbox, and then they would be over and archived. And then if you accidentally put them over here and you wanted them out, you could unarchive them. Now, the only problem with doing this is you have to make sure that they are not replied. That's why we start with unreplied. We go through and clean this up the best that we can. We have had not interested people that when we send our response to that, it is a highly converting message. And they're like, oh, yes, no, wait, I want to get on your calendar, how's blah, 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 blah. And if you just blanket, for instance, let's say you were cleaning up your main inbox, you clicked not interested to go and clean them all out. Let's see. Okay, so filter. reply. Let's see. I think we might have a little bit of trouble doing that. But I think you get the idea. There's the filter. Okay. So let's say if I wanted to just be lazy and select all 8 of them, I could archive them and have a lead in here who needed more. Okay. So I'm just going to do a visual quick check. Not a good fit. We sent our message and I think these were all sent, but let's just double check. You don't want to throw away somebody who wants to talk to you. Okay. And then the other good thing is if they do reply later, so now I'm going to archive these. Don't delete messages. You need to see a conversation string, so don't do that. And now your inbox is cleaned up. All right. We looked at Mario. Let's see what else we need to look at. LinkedIn cooldowns. You'll get into your inbox and it'll say you're on a cooldown. You can message support and ask them about it, but basically it's to protect you. Sometimes the LinkedIn platform does updates and the software needs to coordinate with their updates, or it might seem like you've been a little bit too active. The cooldown is meant to protect you. Everything is good that's happening within the tool. It typically helps people to be less overusing the platform, if that makes sense. It's managing you. Inactive subscription, this is the discount that we talked about. If you see something red or you see your LinkedIn gets disconnected or those words inactive subscription or something else, you do have the ability to connect the 2FA that you have set up on LinkedIn inside of this tool. So then what will happen if you follow these steps, you just follow these steps and then you put the key here, then your system will solve any 2FA for you. So that's where you can find that. I do recommend that you do that. It makes it easier. And then we talked about messaging support. They're very good to get to know. There's a great library. You can search that for all sorts of things. And that should give you everything that you need to get going. The more you message support, the smarter you will get. And then when you are inside of a lead, just remember you have to click on the message to get the pop-up with all of the replies that we have found every account needs. And then you can add and move these around as time goes on. The most important thing for the follow-up is that you're following up every 3 to 5 days maximum. If somebody requested an appointment or more information, you need to follow up and follow our strategy for that. Most of our bookings are happening on the 3rd to 5th follow-up, where most people follow up 1 to 2 times. If you feel like you can't hit the mark on all of those things, we do have a team that's trained and happy to help you on that. So just follow all of those steps and you'll get the best results. But if you need to get better results, we're here to help you with that as well. Let me know if you have any questions or feedback. Happy to update our program and our directions as we move along to give you better results and make it more enjoyable. So have happy lead following up and have a great day.